Hi friends, it's Julie Golding Page, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in St. Stephen, New Brunswick, Canada, along the tidal Scoodic or St. Croix River, just across from Calais, Maine. So welcome to everybody here, wherever you're from. I would like to demonstrate a project today that uses the beautiful new All Aflutter bundle. And it comes with a stamp set and a punch, so you don't even have to have a die cut machine to make this card. So I'd like to show it to you now. So let's get right to it. So here is the lovely bundle. I'll turn that over so we can see it a little better. And this is the stamp set. Look how cool this is. So you've got the solid versions of the butterfly. You've got some different patterns to add to them. And then you've got the outlines as well. And then you've got the little trail that they make. You've got these little tiny butterflies. And then some nice sentiments to use. Fluttering by to say hi, friend, you are so appreciated, and thinking of you today, which covers so many bases. It could be everything from a happy occasion to a sad one and everything in between. You can see some of the butterflies I did already just using one color on white, which is quite spectacular all by itself. But today we are going to use the stamp set and the punch, and we are also going to do a little embossing to step it up a little. So I'll give you options for ways to do it without the embossing. If you're not into embossing, that's fine. But let's get right into our project. Okay, let's do our stamping first. I always like to get the messy part out of the way first. So let's do our easy stamping first. So this is just a little scrap of DSP. So it's just a 1/2 inch tall. I think it was maybe 3.5 wide. Yeah. So 1/2 inch by 3.5 that way. And we are going to use this color, which is Berry Burst. And we're going to use the sentiment that says, you are so appreciated. So let's get that out right now. So I'd love to hear where you're watching from today. And maybe you could tell me what your weather is like. We have been having an unusually cold spring after a very cold and snowy winter here. So I've been out for bike rides a 6 times so far, but that's all I've managed. I think I'll be able to go today. I think it will have warmed up enough that I can manage it. So I should tell you what I'm doing here. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the sentiment. See how this is a long one and it's really hard to make it straight on the block. You can see how easily it twists. So I'm putting it so I can read the words. They're not backwards or upside down or anything. You can see you are so appreciated. And I'm just putting it down so that I can still read them. And then I'm making my block, which just is a little block from a kit. And I'm making my block diagonal, and then I'm pressing down and picking it up so that it'll stay straight for me. I really like that little trick. It just works very, very well. So here we go. We're just going to use our ink pad. And if you've never used these ink pads before, I'll give you a few tips about that too. The tendency that people have when they see an ink pad is they go squish hard, squish, squish, and then you end up with ink all over the place. There's so much of it. But all you have to do is tap lightly, and you can tap lightly several times. So tap, tap, tap. You see how that was just a little motion, not squish hard, but just tap, tap, tap. And you can see there's lots of ink on there. And then I'm going to stamp it on my paper here. All right, let's see what we can do here. See if I can make this work. Kind of in the middle, so I'm leaving a little space on either end. And you'll want to hold it down for several seconds. You want to give the ink lots of time to transfer from the stamp to the paper. I count to probably about 8 or 10 before I pick it up. And then you can just sort of release it like that, pull it off, and it should be dried immediately. And there you go. So that's all we need that particular ink for. So I'm going to put that back, and that's Berry Burst. And here here we go. I'm going to use my chamois. This is a Simply chamois that I get from Stampin' Up. You just run this under water until it's pliable like that. You wring it out gently like you would a dishcloth. And then when it's damp, you can use it to clean your stamps. So every color that Stampin' Up sells except black can be cleaned directly on this chamois with just water, because they're all water-soluble inks, which I love. And you don't need a chemical for them. So there you go. And if you notice, it will have a slight tint of pink probably on my stamp. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, I guess you can a little. And that's because anything that contains red ink of any kind, so that'd be pinks, reds, purples, are all going to stain your photopolymer stamps. It does not affect their performance at all. It just gives them a bit of color. But I could use that same stamp in yellow. And now that I've cleaned it, it won't turn pink. It'll just be yellow. So it works really well. You can see I've used this one with pink a lot. Look at that. And that is the one I'm going to use next. That is the set of outlines for the butterflies. So you can see I'm not using the solid ones. I'm not using these patterned ones here, but the ones that are outlined. And you can tell because when you feel them, they're quite bumpy on the top. So I'm going to flip them over and I'm going to put them on my block, just like that. And now we're going to do our bit of embossing. So what I'm going to do for the embossing is this. I'm going to use a piece of vellum. This is just a bit of a scrap of vellum that I had from the vellum that Stampin' Up sells. It's a nice thick vellum. It's a really good quality one. And what I'm going to do is put that down on my scrap paper here. And then I'm going to stamp these butterflies in Versamark, which is a watermark ink, and it's basically like an invisible ink. So you won't see much on the screen. And this is where you can squish. So you can go and squish them right in there. You want them fairly well coated. And then let's see how we do. I'm going to put them down here because for the punch, they work better if they're down there. So let's see if we can get them to transfer. Let's see if I got a good image. If not, I can try again. I don't want them to be kind of smudged or anything. There, can you see that? So that's a pretty good image, I think, for all of them. They're quite defined. You can see all the patterns. When I was trying this out the first time, I had a little bit too much Versamark on them, or else I might have smudged and moved my stamps on the vellum, and it kind of obscured the patterns. And so just take care with that. If you don't have the Versamark ink or the embossing products, what you can do is just go ahead and use your Berry Burst ink, so the one that I had before, and you can see I did that for these butterflies here and then just cut them out with the punch. But I'm going to use my white embossing powder, so you can get that from Stampin' Up as well. And then I'm going to very carefully tap on the opposite side to get the excess powder off. Now, I hope I did a good job of that. Now, you can see these are a little bit more filled in maybe than I want. So I might just do that again. So that's exactly what I was saying before. You might have to just take care that you don't have too much Versamark ink on there. Well, I don't know. They might come out okay. Maybe I'll go ahead and I'll heat them up first. We'll see if they turn out. But in any case, a mantra I've often heard in this industry is it's only paper. So if it doesn't work out the first time, just use a little more. It's okay. All right, so I'm going to use my heat tool next, and I'm just going to heat it up for about 10 seconds and then I'll start. So I apologize if there's a loud noise on the camera here. There might be. Sometimes there is and sometimes there is not. All right, and then I'm going to start to make the magic happen here. Alrighty, I think we're ready now. So here we go. Oh yeah, there we go. You can see it's all turning white for us. Oh yeah, that's looking good. Okay, I'll be able to use these ones. Yeah, these ones are Very good. All right. So see how they just all came out so nicely? So it's a very nice effect to have this white embossing powder, which is called the Wow Basics embossing powder. It comes in 3 colors together, white, black, and clear. So these are going to look really nice though. I'm really pleased with how that turned out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my remaining white powder back into my little jar. So there it goes, back in the jar. And honestly, I've never had to replace an embossing powder so far because you put most of it back every time. And they last for a really long time. Some I've had for many, many years. Okay, so let's go ahead and punch them out. So here's our punch. So first, you just shove up this button and it opens the punch. Now, counterintuitively, you don't put the paper in this side. You put it in the thin side. So you put it up near where those different pictures are. Now, this part, the little corner is getting in the way, that part right there. So we're going to cut that off. See if that will fit in the punch now, because we want to match up all 3 images at the same time. Oh, and that's looking pretty good. Okay, let me see if I can get that right on. Okay, there we go. And you've still got some left. You could probably do another set down here. So I'll just put that aside for now. Then to close it up and make it flat again, you just squeeze it, pull that button down, and there you go. Oh, hi, Kathy. Welcome. Yeah, I wonder how many people watching today have tried out this bundle so far. I think it's a really cute one, and it certainly makes beautiful, beautiful cards. So I'll try to pick one of these up, and you can see that's what they look like. Aren't they cute? All right, so we've got that, and we've got our sentiment. So we've got all our stamping done. That's it for the embossing as well. Super easy and simple. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our piece of DSP, that's Designer Series paper, and we're going to adhere it to this panel, which is a brand new color called Peaceful Pine. So we're going to just do that, and I'm going to use tear and tape. I have found that that has been the biggest hit of all the Stampin' Up! Adhesives with people that come to my classes. Sometimes they find the multi-purpose liquid glue, which is also a great product, but it can be a bit messy, right? If you get too much and you don't mean to. This one, the Stampin' Seal, sometimes people have a little trouble working with it till they get used to it. But almost everybody can use this immediately because it's really simple. So it's called Tear and Tape, and you literally just tape and tear, or tear and tape. So it's really, really simple. So you just peel off the little back in there. And, oh, I see a comment from Marg. Hi, Marg. Oh, you're welcome. Yes, I had a great time at our in-person class last night. And, oh yeah, you mentioned the dessert. So for those who weren't there last night, I don't bake very often anymore, honestly. I'm trying to cut back on sugary things and stuff, but every once in a while I like to bake. And yesterday was the day, so I made a Queen Elizabeth cake. Has anybody tried that? It's one of my favorite cakes. My mom used to make it a fair bit, and my husband and I have enjoyed it also for many years. And the secret ingredient is dates. Dates make it so moist and so, so nice. Turns out every time. I love it. So this paper is called Velvet Meadow. And see all these white pieces? I don't think you can probably tell on the screen, but they're flocked. That is, they have like a velveteen finish to them. I'll show you the other pieces that came with this too, because they're really nice. This is kind of a new thing for their papers. And these centers of the flowers on this piece are all flocked as well. Here's the bigger version of the piece we're using today. So it's all these little white flowers, not the big ones, but the little tiny ones. Oh, Ruby's saying, I stamped the butterflies, but never embossed. Yeah, yeah. So the embossed ones, they just give it a whole new lease on life, I think. Anyways, you can let me know what you think after you see kind of how it turns out. Here's all the little white flowers. They're all flocked. Oh, and here's a page that comes in this paper. Like all this white stuff is flocked. So the whole thing feels fuzzy. Really, really cool. I believe that is white and cloud cover maybe in the background, and then the peaceful pine. And this one too, every white bit you see, like all these big leaves, they're all flocked. So again, this is called the Velvet Meadow paper. So it's very pretty. It was in stock when I last checked, but as I always tell everyone when they're ordering, if there's something you like, I would say order it as soon as you can, because honestly, stuff does not stay around very long. And you might be disappointed if you wait too long. So this card base is Bubble Bath. That's the color. And all I did to create it was I just took an 8.5 by 11 and I cut it down the middle. You can cut this way or this way. It doesn't matter. It makes the same size card. So they all fit in the Stampin' Up! Envelopes. So I've got these pieces all ready. So what are we going to do now? All right, we need to add a little bit of extra texture and color and a little bit of bling. So let's do that. All right, so I've got these two ribbons here. And this one is the brand new color, Peaceful Pine. So it's called Peaceful Pine Bordered Ribbon. All right, so that's what that is. And I'm also using a second ribbon, which is Bubble Bath Faux Linen Ribbon. Okay, so what we're going to do with these is we're going to put two pieces together. I had a scrap left over from a class, so I'm going to use that one. And then we're just going to put these two together, kind of like that. Okay? So we're going to put those two together and stick them on. So I'm going to cut that one to match as well. And rather than wrap it all the way around to keep it flat so that there's no knot in the way, and also to use half the ribbon instead of twice as much, I always do it this way. I cut it just slightly bigger than my panel, and then I add glue dots, mini glue dots. I love these. And I have to say my customers and team love them too. I don't know if I've ever met anybody that didn't like the glue dots. Oops, it would help if I had this right side up, wouldn't it? All right, there we go. Okay, let's put that kind of down there. Maybe like that. And we'll take this one too. All right, so this is the Bubble Bath ribbon. And you could just use one ribbon. Honestly, you could use either of these or something else that you have on hand. Another color ribbon that would go really well is a yellow called Darling Duckling. It's on sale right now because they're clearing it out. So that would also be a nice option. But I think this will do really well. To put these two together is just kind of something a little different. Gives it a little bit of extra texture and an extra color as well. So now what we can do is we can take this panel, we're going to turn it over, and we are going to add some dimensionals. So some foam raised adhesive here. And I like to use all these little bits on the edges that aren't cut, because why not? They stick just like all the other things. So we're going to use those too. And I'll just take this. Here we go. And take that one. Okay. So we'll put that on our Bubble Bath card base. So far it's all simple, right? All I did to make this any fancier than normal is just added an extra piece of ribbon. So super easy. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take our ribbon and we're going to put the two pieces together again, just like that. And I'm going to feed it underneath here. And we're going to make a little tie, just tying them together. Okay, so this is just a little bit fussy to get them to play nicely together, but I liked the effect, so I think it is worth the trouble to do it. So here we go. All right, so we'll cut this end first. Just try to get them kind of lined up together there. Okay, and then this piece down here. Let me see, is that the right side? Yeah, I think so. All right, so we've got just a tiny bit of waste there from tying it right on the spool. Because, I mean, why use more than you need, right? So I like to do that. So now we've got this nice little bow with all the two colors together. And we can move our ribbon out of the way. So again, that was Peaceful Pine bordered ribbon. And this one is Bubble Bath Faux Linen ribbon. All right. And now we're going to take the rest of these pieces and put them on. So I'm just going to angle cut this on either side. Nothing fancy, but it does make it look kind of fancy actually by just cutting it a little bit there. So I'm just going to get rid of those little bits. And we're going to put some dimensionals on the back of that. Let me see, these are probably a good size. Let's see, 1, 2, I think I'll put a third one in the middle there, just to make sure it doesn't kind of sag in the middle. And if you don't have a demonstrator already and you're in Canada, I'd be happy to help you with your crafting needs. When you place a $100 order or more in a month, I also automatically send you my tutorial bundle with 12 different projects from 12 different demonstrators across the world, not just North America. And I'd be happy to do that if you place an order of $100 or more with me. All right, now we have these little guys to put on now. So what I'm going to do is turn them over, and I'm going to use the little mini dimensionals this time because I don't want them to show up through the other side of our butterflies. So we're just going to put a little one in the middle of each one, and that should stick them very nicely. So let's see, where do we want this one? Maybe kind of like that. And how about another one? Maybe I want this one. Do I want it down there? Where would I like it? Maybe like that. So you can decide on your card just wherever makes the most sense on the picture that you have. And I'll put that one there. And then I need a little bit of bling added as well. So let me grab my gems and we'll put that on. So these are one of my very favorite gems because they go with everything. They've been out a long time. They're called Rhinestone Basic Jewels. And they're one of the most economical ones to buy as well because they're less than $10 for a set. And I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool. It has putty on the end, so it makes it super easy to pick up gems like this. You just press down and move them. Okay, usually that works. It's because I've got this on a tiny little piece here, that's why. Let's try that again. There. Okay, where do I want to put those? Okay. Maybe one there. There, I did that one better that time. Maybe one there. And let's put one more on. Where would I like this other one? Maybe kind of down here, just for something a little different. Okay, so I'm just going to move my gems so you can see all this. And that, my friends, is the end of this card. So super easy card. If you take out the embossing, it's really super easy. But the embossing is not difficult either. It just takes a few seconds and just a little bit of care and paying attention, and then that's the result you get. So thank you very much for watching today. I will do my best to get a supply list up for this and something on my blog, and inside my blog post that I'll list below in the comments. Just give me a few minutes after I'm done today. I will also have a way to purchase these items if you're interested. Okay, so thank you very much for following my video today, and I hope you have a wonderfully crafty week. Bye for now.